Hey, folks, this week on the Daily Dose, we are talking all about the unhurried life. The unhurried life. What does it look like to just slow down? I don't know about you, but my life generally is go, 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 go. And I got to admit something to you. The idea of an unhurried life, it actually kind of weirds me out. It totally weirds me out. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today on the Daily Dose. But before I do, as we dive in today, would you do a couple of things? If you're watching on Facebook, would you check in on Facebook? For every time you do that, we have a generous donor who's donating $5 to our Backpack Attack program that's feeding kids right here in Alexandria. The second thing you could do is this. Could you share or like this post? When you do that, it helps us get the word out to others about the good news that you and I love. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the little bell so you get notifications. And last but certainly not least, if you're one of those special people who are watching on Cable Access 181, would you invite a friend to watch as well, especially if they are busy people? So I want to talk to you today about how I actually am sort of weirded out by this idea of an unhurried life. And here's why. I am okay with a hurried life because I know it well. In fact, I'm really good at the hurried life. I have hurried all my life. And when I hurry, here's what happens. I get things done. And I like that because I'm an American. I want to achieve. I want to produce. I want to get things done. I want to excel in life. Here's what I grew up knowing. If I hurry, if I hustle, I'm going to get things done and I'm going to succeed. And here's the thing, I am not good at the unhurried life. There are several times in my life where I've tried to slow down because I know it's good for me. In fact, one time we paid our kids. We told them that every time they saw us sneaking on our cell phone after 5 o'clock at night when we were all at home, that we would pay them 25 cents each time they saw us do it. Do you know how long that lasted? About a day. We lost. It was a miserable idea because we are constantly connecting, constantly getting things done. One time, a friend of mine who's a pastor invited me to be a part of a silent retreat at a monastery. Do you know what I told him? No way. There's no way I could possibly do that. Silence, solitude, I got to admit to you, I'm not really good at it. In fact, it sort of scares me. But what I've come to learn is that I probably need it. I probably need it probably more than anyone else. I need silence because here's what I've learned about silence. That it's in silence that I get God's perspective so that I can get out of my perspective. You see, I think we all need a little of God's perspective that only comes in the silence. You see, it's in the silence, in solitude, where we have a moment to breathe, that we get God's perspective so that we can get out of our perspective. There's a great story in the Old Testament about a prophet. His name is Elijah. And in the book of 1 Kings chapter 18, Elijah is stressed out. He's been hurrying through this and through that. He's worried about life. And God says to him, Elijah, I want you to go up on the mountain. I want you to get some solitude. And what's interesting is what happens up there on the mountain. He said, go out, God said, and stand on the mountain before the Lord, for the Lord is about to pass by. Now, there was a great wind, so strong that it was splitting mountains and breaking rocks into pieces before the Lord. But the Lord wasn't in the wind. And after the wind, there was an earthquake out there in the wilderness, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, there was, get this, there was a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, there was a sound of sheer silence. There was a sound of sheer silence, and it's in that sheer silence that Elijah heard God's voice. You see, here's what I know. Maybe it's similar to Elijah, that I need that silence and solitude every once in a while. As much as it weirds me out, as much as it scares me, I need that silence so that I can get God's perspective and get out of my perspective that is always so limited. You see, I wonder, folks, as we've lived through this crazy period of time, as COVID-19 has turned our lives upside down, here's what I know is true about me, and maybe it's true about you as well. I've had a lot more solitude. Our family has had more solitude, more time away from the hustle and bustle, away from the running to tournaments. We've had a lot more solitude. And what's happened, I think, is that we've reminded ourselves, we've found space to remember, first off, who we are as a family, who we are, what's important to us. And secondly, I think we've gained a little more of God's perspective. We've gotten out of our perspective, and we've been able to hear the voice of God in the midst of that silence, in the midst of the solitude. And maybe it's been true for you. Maybe in the midst of all of this, you've been able to hear God's voice. And you've been reminded of what's important, that family, that friends, that being together, it really means so much more than anything else in your life. Maybe you've been reminded during this time of solitude of who you are. You see, this is what I know about those times of solitude. It was true for Elijah, and it's true for you and me, that it's in the silence that we get God's perspective, and we get out of ours. Folks, have a good night.
Where sin runs deep, your grace is more. Where grace is found is where you are. And where you are, Lord, I am free. Holiness is Christ in me. Oh God, how I need you. just your